That's good. Hello, hello. We are live on Facebook. And on my right, I don't know what it shows up on their screen, but I've got the beautiful Joy. It is Joy, right? Or do you like Joey?
Joey, it's fine.
Okay.
I answered anything like people say joy, joie, Joey, Joey, like
Cool.
anything really.
It's beautiful. Cool. So we got the lovely Joy.
I
Joy.
like how you say it.
There you go.
I like how you
It's she's a lot of joy. I can say that, and the name matches to that for me. So and me, Paul Handreader. Unfortunately, I'm Sans beautiful background that just won't do it today. I don't know what technical glitch is going on, but so let's begin. So where is Joy located, and what's she doing right now?
Currently, I'm in Bradenton, Florida, and I'll be here for a couple of weeks. I've been here on a writing project, and then I'll be headed towards New York
Beautiful.
soon.
Awesome. And what brings joy to your heart? What's the thing that's your passion right now?
besides destroying everything old, just being here, being so hard. What is one?
You
one
said it. You
besides
said destroying everything old. Is that true?
everything old? That's like my passion every day. Yeah,
Cool.
I just love destroying everything old.
And why is that important, and how do you do it?
That's important because I have found through my own energetic practice and philosophy that when I don't end or give conscious endings or destroy, I like the word destroy just because I think it's fun. But really, it's conscious endings. When I don't consciously end my past, it tends to emotionally or manipulate or filter my current choices. And so I spend most of my day just walking about happily letting go of everything I've ever known and embracing everything I don't.
Okay.
But I'm kind of deep in it.
Cool. So to help people that haven't listened to you before, so Joy and I believe that we set off movies or contracts, etc., that we go through our life with, and they're meant for a lesson, but most of us identify with them, label ourselves with those past experiences, and we really never end the movie.
Right.
And when you say destroy, you're basically saying I'm going in there actively, releasing all emotions, pain, wounding, self-definition, stories especially, so that they can be free and you can just be in the now. Correct?
Yes. I'm giving endings to the movies that I started because we're all in our own reality. So we're all creating our own movies daily. And if we're going to use the movie analogy, it's like we make a movie every day and we forget to put the end and roll the credits. And so we have all these open movies and like our new movies are just sort of getting lost in the fray of all these other ones that are playing around us 24/7.
And we forget that each of those events that happen in our life, call it a movie or whatever, was to consciously learn something, a bad relationship or a divorce or a fight or whatever. We're learning to balance ourselves. We're learning to be self-masterful in those things. But a lot of times we're left in this agenda. Oh, you're just a wounded man, or oh, you're another one of those guys. I've took on these for myself so I can speak to them. And they're not really true. But in that moment, society judges us or something happens and we get stuck with that. This is all I am, when we're infinite beings, right?
Yeah, we get stuck in one moment, right? In one moment, that's what we were, or that's what we did, or that's how we responded. But there's no reason. We have total free will. So there's no reason in the next moment we can't respond or be totally something different that we choose in that moment. It gets harder to choose something totally different when you have a bunch of open-ended feelings and emotions and and moments that align with the other way that you don't want to choose anymore.
Agreed. Agreed.
But I don't.
So, go ahead.
I don't think that. I personally like all movies to be closed, though, so I don't focus on any of the movies or the moments or the experiential templates, how I call them. I don't focus on anything based on what was in them, just the fact that they're open. And so closing them releases all the stuff that was in them, and I don't have to pay much attention if they were traumatic or the most happiest or nostalgia or whatever. Anything that's open is going to limit me.
Mm-hmm. So I picture that as you're creating a blank canvas every day to sketch on or to paint on without any previous day's paintings left on it then.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
And making a gallery where I can look at the old ones and see what I did. But putting a frame around them and hanging them up and just not being in them anymore.
Okay. So what I'd like to add to that, so essentially as energetic beings, we have this place called the Akashic Records. And basically what I see Joy doing is we're kind of closing the file and we're putting it back in the records and leaving all the emotion, all the past stuff behind us so that we're starting fresh every day. And you're building from an unlimited possibility choice each and every day.
Yes.
Beautiful.
100%.
Okay. So let's take a step back. So how did you find this? How did you learn this? Maybe can you share that with us?
Yeah. So I've been doing energy work since 1999. And, I got quite good at it. And I had always done or worked with the concepts of, cutting cords or, I could help people through one particular situation in which they were having challenge with, or they wanted more of something. So I could call in more energy and help align them with that. And of course I could use these tools on myself. And I had learned all these tools, and I have a degree in psychology, and I was a massage therapist for a while. So I had all these tools, and then I found myself in a really bad relationship. Not really a bad relationship, but in a really sad, bad place, like for myself. Not that I don't even think things are like good or bad, but I think that it was like close to a rock bottom place for my own self, where I knew everything that was going on. I was conscious of everything that was going on. I was aware of everything that was going on. I had all the tools that should affect everything that was going on. And still nothing was changing. And I just kind of had this really frustrating moment where it was the rock bottom moment where I just said, okay, I'm done with this. I'm going to reach out to whatever the divine, force is. I'm going to open to the unknown and show me the way out of this, because literally I have done every single thing that I know, and I know so much. So, and I've seen it work in other places, and I know that I'm doing the work, but it's not actually translating into physical manifestation. And I'm not often a very sad person. And this was like a period of 2 or 3 months where I was truly sad, and I felt like I was withering away. I was like dying. And so it was really important to me to get out of it and get out of it in a way that made sense to me and my beliefs and my values, not just walk away from something and avoid it. And so when I did that, all of a sudden, everything that I had studied just sort of, it was just like, okay, well, this is what you were doing, but we have to make that step bigger. And this is what you've been doing, but we have to make that part bigger. And everything just kind of took one step outward. And so rather than ending my experience or releasing the energy of the relationship I was in that was having the issue, I began to just dissolve those lines way out into my past life, into my cells, into my body, and with gratitude and love, like, let them go. Right. And so as soon as I as soon as I started going beyond the thing that I was trying to get around, the one annoyance that was seemingly crushing me, which made no logical sense, I realized it was just the one annoyance on top of, a long history or a lifetime of annoyances, right? And then I realized that lifetime was on top of lifetimes of annoyances, and so on and so on. And so I just jumped to the very beginning, and I started ending creation experiences of things. And by ending the creation one, it sort of like wrapped the whole thing in like a book close. And immediately things shifted, clarity came, awareness came. And I was like, is this real? Can I do this? Can I just can I not have to go layer by layer, through the onion to the core? Can I just go to the core and be like, thank you, I'm done, and have the whole onion disappear? And I can, and I could. So I did it for myself for a while. I got myself 100% out of that situation in a matter of days. And then I started working with other people to see if I could translate that into my energy work for them.
Okay.
And I could.
Just before we get to that, so in doing that, how did your life change after that? Because you did a lot of really radical departures from current norms, right?
Yeah. Well, I had already been like that anyway. I was already on
Okay.
the unconventional edge of, I have a really neurodivergent way of looking at things, and I never really quite fit in. So I was already in this systematic stepping away from conventional society. So that didn't take too much. But the situation I was specifically in, right, was limited by these very odd belief systems. Like one of the belief systems that was holding me back in that situation was I was lending my car at the moment, and I wanted to leave, but I had this just strange sort of hard truth that said I could not leave without my car. And then I had this, just all these things. Like it was just like I wasn't even questioning that as a truth. I just saw it as like, well, I can't leave because I'm lending my car, and I don't want to be the one to take away my car, and I don't want to be, I don't want to do this. And the situation I was in, even after that after that session that I have with myself, it had nothing to even do with the person. It just had to do with like I allowed myself to live in an environment that wasn't good for me, space wise, climate wise, all sorts of things. So like my physical health was not feeling good. I allowed myself to be in a relationship that I wasn't clear on my own boundaries. So I was constantly having my boundaries crossed, but I wasn't actually making them either. And then I had this weird notion that I could not leave without my car because I didn't want to be the bad person that left with, left a need that was being filled and took that need away. And I also felt like it was mine, so I should be able to have it. And it was like overnight, everything was just like, wait a minute, you have no problem with this person. You have no problem with yourself. You have no problem with your choices. They were just odd ones that you probably shouldn't have made. Like, leave your car. You can get another one if you really need one. Like open up to find a place to live. Get yourself out of this basement. Like here's all the possibility for joy. And it was just like overnight all these things dropped, and then it took me about 3 or 4 days looking back in hindsight to see the patterns, to see where they had come from. And I loved that process so much better, like getting rid of the awfulness I was feeling, and then going, okay, how did that happen? Now I can look at it not emotionally attached and figure it out and how to do better, instead of having to dig awareness by awareness and pain by pain and pain. I could have been there for years. I could have died. Like, honestly, I was so sad in that environment. I could have died.
And I think it's important for the people watching to be aware that these were all just beliefs that were programmed at some point in your life you didn't even know, that limited your ability to make choices for yourself to the point that it was killing you, right? Or
right. It felt like it was killing me because I'm so aligned with joy and expression, and I have been my whole life, that when I'm not in it, when I'm not feeling the joy of life, and I'm not feeling like I can express myself, it's really apparent, and it'll come out in ways that other people would describe as like depression or anxiety or whatnot. And these belief systems were also things that I had worked on consciously. And in my current relationship, I was using nonviolent communication. I was using NLP. I was using mantra. I was using energy work. I was using all the things I knew, but I was only using them for like the present. And all of my issues were actually not in the present. They were all from past relationships, past lives, you know, Catholic upbringing, guilt from my Nana, like everything that actually was making me upset in that situation had nothing to do with that situation. And then as soon as I cleared it in that one session, like 1 hour, I was like, what? Like, is it really that simple? And it's so simple that it's extremely pushed back at because we don't want to believe it's that simple, because then why did we suffer all these other years, right?
So can I ask this? The issues weren't with the people outside. The issues were inside of you first. And when you deal with them first within you, do you see the outward change?
Oh, yeah. I haven't been in that situation again ever since.
Exactly.
Or anything similar to it.
Okay.
Like, it's funny, even this week is the same car issue. Like not issue, but a same, like I'm in the process of giving up a car right now. So this is the second time in like 20 years that I've actually chosen to leave somewhere without transportation. But it's a totally different, I guess a totally different thing. Like my car broke and I looked at it and I said, should I fix it? Like instead of, because I used to just run on paradigms, right? So it was like, my car would break, I'd go into, oh God, I don't have a car. I have to fix a car. What's going to happen? My life is going to fall apart. I don't have transportation. Like that would be the normal way a brain would work, right? But the way that I've set my environment and my energy system up, it was like my car broke and I was like, that's odd. All right. Like, what do we do about this? What do we feel about this? You know? And then I was like, I'm going to take a couple of days and walk around and see what it's like without one. You know, and then I'll think if I want to fix it. It's like I wasn't really assuming that there was an issue and assuming that there needed to be a solution. I was just interacting with what was happening in that day. And then I meditated on it and I said, should I fix my car? And what I heard or what I felt in my heart was no, you really want to be in a backpack. And I thought that's not really what I want to do. And I looked around at all my stuff. I thought that is not really what I want to do, right? But then I felt into it and I was like, but that's where the joy feels. Like that's actually what feels good. When I think about fixing my car, I feel not good about it. And so I cleared the stuff around money. Is it because it's going to be too expensive? Is it because I'm going to have to work more? I cleared all those things and I still sat with it. And I thought, well, no, I really actually just don't want a car right now. I want a couple of months where I don't have to deal with a vehicle. And I'm okay with that. And that's a totally different experience than what had happened like in 2017, where I was like, I can't leave this place because if I leave, like I'm attached to this vehicle, and I had no idea even why. Right.
So, well, and it's probably a good thing because look at all the stuff you're attached to, right? With a car, you got to have a place to park it, and you got to pay gas, and you got to get insurance, and you got to have registration, and you don't have to be part of that system all of a sudden when you make choices like that, which create different choices. Now I got to walk to the bus, or I got to
see new things. Now I get to take the train. Now I get to go buy a little orange valise that holds my crystals and my oracle cards, and I get to plan outfits for my ride. I'm not driving anywhere. I get to look at scenery. I mean, all these things started happening. Like I was like, oh, look at all these possibilities that can happen when you're just in the moment, right? Instead of just freaking out about the future. And it's not even that I don't want a car anymore either, because I thought about it. And the only reason that this makes sense is because my next stop from here is New York City. And I thought, well, I'm not going to a place that I need a car anyway. So I'll get there. And then when I leave New York City, I'll find a different car.
Wow. That's not thunder. That's dumpsters rolling down into underground parking. Imagine 6 of those big blue dumpsters just rolling down willy-nilly a hill like this. So anyways.
It's garbage day here too.
Now I'm feeling a lot of the same, right? So my house went away back in end of August last year. And then I got small. I was living out of my trailer and everything's in storage. And what do you do with lifetime's worth of 3,000 square foot house shit in $500 a month storage units? But I don't miss the stuff, but I miss the freedom of having the tools to fix it, or all my little appliances on my cupboard or whatever that made my life easy and comfortable. But I don't need any of them. It's like if that whole place burned down tomorrow, I could care less because those didn't really define me. But once you get in, like I moved into a different apartment, and it's like my lease ends at the end of this month. And it's like, do I really want to live in my trailer and live that kind of, I don't know, whatever you call it, exploring lifestyle? But I also feel that this is perfect. I'm in an apartment building. As things are about to change, I want to travel all over the world and have a place to come back to so I can visit with my kids and invite them over and all these kind of things. So now it's not this limited thing of, oh, where am I going to find the money? But it's like a deserving thing. Like, I believe I deserve to have a home, but home is really inside of here. But this is the place where I store my stuff. It's safe. I can invite people to come visit. I can do my energy work, etc. So it's not like an attachment, like I got to have this now, but it's like, I'm really fucking worthy of having this place where I can be confident. Like there's stories attached to it too. Like as a dad, I should have some place for my kids, but I can't afford a 3-bedroom house so that all my kids can live here. But this is perfect because now, I don't know, I find even just spending time with my kids, 3 hours in 1 week, some people may think of that as small, but it's really quality time. It might be just watching a movie with them or making a meal, but it's all love and it's all really present time. And it's just a really big shift from the old way. It's like the old way, it's like take them to soccer and go to a movie and do all these things and pay all this money and give them gifts and all this kind of stuff, where now it's just like, hey, I'm here for you. What's going on? How's life? But if I explain that to other people, it's like, oh, you're a deadbeat dad. You're not giving them a house and all these things. And I just don't have the monetary ability to do that, but I can give love, do acts of service, even for their mom. She finds it hard because love is living in the same house, being married and all this kind of stuff, and explaining what family is and that you're helping people by, hey, your car's broken or you need your tires changed or your whatever. It's huge, right? So we're shifting to this place of disconnecting all the societal conditioning and going completely into what honors us and what we love and what's feels good, right?
Yes, and that's the end result. And you brought up a good point because you said it's really about definitions, right? So, like going minimalist, I don't think I'm personally very minimalist right now, but I enjoyed having my house. I enjoyed it being filled with the tools and having the space to fix things and all that other stuff. And I don't also think that there's not a time in my future for that. Like I'm like, yeah, I'd like to have a mansion with a room for every single nephew and niece that I have, and like that would be great. But I think it's a natural evolution. Like to get there, most people get rid of the items, right? Like let's get rid of the items. And then you're kind of faced with your belief structures, because once you get rid of all the items in your world and you
Post-it notes come off you. Keep going.
Yeah, and then you're down to what you believed about those items or what you still believe about those items, right? And it always comes down to belief systems and perception and personal accountability and doing what's good for us and doing what's good for us translating into what's best for everyone around us. Because if we're a stressed out basket case, self-medicating, coping, masking, lying to ourselves, saying we could be something that we're not, or that we should be something that we just don't naturally align with, that's not good for the people around us, because we're not giving a good role model. We're not actually giving heart-centered connection. Like we're just stressed out, right? People can
call that prostituting ourselves, because we're like, I'm this and I'm that, and you're none of it, and you can't be yourself.
You're like squeezed in. You're like, okay, yeah, I'm really happy doing this thing for 40 hours a week. And some people are happy. So I'm not happy doing a 40-hour week thing. And this is what I'm trying to say. It's not really about the things or the not things. It's not about the mansions or not mansions. And things itself doesn't have to be tied to societal conditioning either. You can just want really great camping gear and go spend $3,000 on the most ultimate camping gear in the world, and that's perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I would hope is that you're doing it because it's what your heart desires. You're hiking the trail that's like calling to your spirit, and that the work that you're giving out into the world while you're on that hike is, is kind of along that same thread of presence and manifesting presence, and being in alignment with who you feel the best at, and what you can do for others at that level.
Mm-hmm.
How you live your life. If you want to fly around in jets, that's awesome, but don't fly around in jets because your dad says it's what you should be doing. And don't fly around in jets because that's what all the cool people do. Fly around in jets because you really effing love jets. And then great things are going to happen, right? Because you're doing what you love, and you're living from a space that you're centered, and you're truthful with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But,
So I call that cleaning. So I started with Ho'oponopono was one of my first spiritual practices. I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. And basically, if you understand the story behind Ho'oponopono, Dr. Hugh Len, he worked in a psychiatric hospital in Hawaii, and he just sat in his office and said, "I'm sorry, I love you," into the files of each of these inmates. And basically, he cleaned all the negative energy, the beliefs, the stories, the labels, the whatever that came out of these actions of this person. And it got to the point that they had to close the mental hospital down because he was cleaning. You're doing an even higher level of cleaning, or more impactful, because you're cleaning the whole event and everything to do with it, right? Ho'oponopono will do that in general, but you're saying like any attachment to house or any attachment to money or any of these kind of things, you call that in, you do your process, which I call cleaning, but you're destroying, you said, which feels really good when you're destroying something that's not serving you anymore.
right.
And it goes out into your energy field and everything changes, right?
Everything changes because you're changing the actual makeup of your energetic system. So
Right.
when you go in and you just find more awareness about your energy system, you're not really changing anything. You're just like, oh, I'm aware of that anger trigger I have. I'm aware of that bad relationship that I don't want to repeat. But if you're not actually altering the energetic vibration, that's attached to that, then it's just awareness, and you can get really trapped in awareness for years. You can just keep trying to be more aware of something.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
it's like, but it's like if you're aware that there's like a hyena or something on your shoulder, right? Yeah. Naturally, I mean, I would think you don't want to walk around with a hyena on your shoulder. So it's like, but people will do this about belief systems. Like, I'm aware there's this hyena, so let me walk around, assume it's never going to be off my shoulder, learn better ways to talk to it, learn better ways to train it, learn better ways to introduce people to my hyena. It's like they don't let go of the thing they're trying to get awareness. They just get more awareness of it and carry it around. But you could be like, wow, I've been walking around with a hyena on my shoulder. That's been a really weird and wonderful experience. Thank you, hyena. I love you. Goodbye.
My codependency is done. Yep.
And then there's no hyena on your shoulder. I don't know why I'm saying hyena. I don't think I've ever said that word in my life, actually, out loud.
Well, you want something that's really scary and is putting you in your fear completely. There you go.
I don't even know what a hyena looks like.
Have you ever, when you talk about hyena, Harley Quinn in the Marvel movie or whatever, where it's their own movie, that's her pet animal, is a hyena.
Oh, that's really funny. I'm gonna have to look up Harley Quinn and see.
It's part of like the Suicide Squad, the girl with Daddy's Little Monster on her T-shirt.
I know who Harley Quinn is, but I'm not really quite sure why. Like, my intuition wants me to be aware of who Harley Quinn is today.
Well, a hyena laughs incessantly and feels joyful, but it's got big teeth.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's it. Maybe it's like a spirit animal of mine or something like that. I don't know. But yeah. So the whole point is, yes, I'm doing a cleaning process. But what I noticed is, if I tell people we're cleaning something, it infers that it's still there, and
Mm-hmm.
it still can be very influential.
Mm-hmm.
So how I like to have people conjure it in their mind or envision it is that there's an open experience kind of floating around them, and all of the information's in the experience, and what we can do is just dissipate the experience, like just send it back into dust or
Mm-hmm.
atoms or ether or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and then we can release everything that was in it, and not have it in our energetic signature, because it's our energetic signature that's interacting in the present moment, our whole energetic signature, not just the one that we're aware of and the one that we're choosing right now.
Mm-hmm. So I use the term self-mastery. Would you say that once you clear and destroy all this stuff, you're learning more and more self-mastery and energetic awareness of what your beliefs are?
Yes.
Okay.
100%. I feel I mean, it's gonna sound like what do you, lofty, but I'm really not easily manipulated any longer. Like, I'm not manipulated by my past. I'm not easily manipulated by other people. I'm not manipulated by the narratives. I can see the narratives more clearly as they're coming at me. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
really am driven and moved and centered in presence, which I describe or define as just alignment with my highest self and the most possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I could stay in that place, which is what my practice is about, staying there every day. Um, if I can stay in that place, I miss a lot of the traps that I see set for the average, human
The
walking about.
detours and the roadblocks. Yep.
Yeah, it's like, oh, there's that,
Squirrel.
there's that
Yeah.
thing. I don't want to fall on that thing again. Um,
So to dig under what you just said, so essentially all the stuff that distracts you or leads you astray from honoring yourself, etc., is mostly related to societal programming, and then it creates these events, beliefs, uh, believed truths of how the world works or how you should be that distract you from choosing you.
Yes, it's definitely a part of it. Social programming is a huge part of it, because most of the stuff, okay, so take it all back to definition, right?
Mm-hmm.
How we define the world is how we see it. And so a lot of our definitions we acquire with language. And when we're acquiring language, we're younger. And when
Mm-hmm.
we're younger, we're in the care of other adults and churches and societies and schools and stuff like that. So most of our creation based, like at the creation level of our language, is a lot of other people's
Mm-hmm.
definitions.
Mm-hmm.
And
A
we can,
lot of parents. Keep going.
a lot our parents, yeah, or our caretakers, whoever you were raised with.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we created language, we created how we perceive the world. When we created language, we were given that language mostly, right? And then when we became adults, we picked one or two things that maybe didn't agree with us. Not one or two, let's just say like 100, right? But
Mm-hmm.
the main things where we go, okay, is that relationship that I want or the one that I'm modeling from my parents? And we focus on that one word, right?
Mm-hmm.
But our whole language, every
Mm-hmm.
single word we have, has belief systems and definitions attached to it. So if we can break it down to that, then you can just clean your language on a daily basis, and then you get to define your words on a daily basis based on how you're experiencing those things in reality. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of seeing someone and the word of them, like I see you, and the word of you tells me who you are, right? Like, okay, this is Paul. Like, okay, this is who he is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that. I don't, like, your word doesn't precede you. I say, okay, who is Paul today? Right? And
Mm-hmm.
I let go of who you've been up to today, and I
Mm-hmm.
allow you to surprise me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I allow my definition of you to happen today.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then I let it go. Like, I'll let
Mm-hmm.
it go tonight when I let go of my whole day. And
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow, if you show up and you're acting 150% a different person,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to spend hours analyzing that. I'm going to be like, whoa, that's weird. Like,
That's new.
that's new.
It's not weird. It could be anything.
Right, yeah, but like that's, that's different.
Yeah.
And let me ask questions. Let me be curious. Like, why are you acting this way today? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, well, yesterday he was like,
Yeah.
so he should be like, so what changed? Because I have to understand every single thing that ever happens in the entire world. It's crazy making, but that's how most people think.
Yeah. So let's try an example. So let's say you grew up, or some of the person on the live, they grew up, and somewhere, first we have to know is that children just absorb everything up until the age of 8 is absolutely truth. It's part of our learning process. We have no discernment, we have no filters, etc. So let's say you wanted your little tricycle, red and white tricycle, and mom and dad said, money doesn't grow on trees, you can't have that. That goes in at 3 or 4 or 5, and you have your tears, and it's a trauma. But your subconscious takes that in and says, anytime I ask for something that I want, it's now a bad thing, and I'm not worthy of it, or whatever. It creates this belief about yourself. Now you're 20 or 30 and you're trying to get a new car, and money's not showing up, and nothing's working out. You can't get it. That subconscious thing is kind of relating, oh, mom and dad said I couldn't have a bicycle. So now it's feeding into stuff in our adult life. It's limited you, but you didn't even know it was there. It's in the subconscious that you're not worthy, and it replays, and you'll self-sabotage, and these things will come up to prove that it's true over and over and over. But what you're saying is you go back and say, hey, I want this new car. What's blocking me from this new car? And you call up everything, which you can't even consciously be aware of, and put it on the table to be wiped and destroyed, or is
to
that
be
correct?
Ended. And repeat the words of the I always say it wrong, the
Ho'oponopono, yeah.
The one with all the O's and the P's and the N's. Repeat.
It's all good.
What are the sentences? Say it again.
I am sorry. Okay. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you.
Sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. And thank you. I'm just trying to figure out how that translates into presence manifest. So,
okay.
If we're looking at trauma or something that we're having,
okay, quickly just say what you use the word presence manifest. We haven't described it, so explain quickly.
Okay, so presence manifest is the name of my applied energetic philosophy. It's based on the principle of energetic experiential template clearings, and that's what we're talking about now. It's this concept that I experienced and then have now transferred and been able to teach, which is basically taking an experience that's open in the past and ending it. So experiential energy template. Every experience we have creates a template. Those templates become filters for our present moment until we end them. When we end them, they're no longer influencing us.
Right. They're not in our energy field, coercing and diverting.
And back to the bicycle. That's what I was going with. So the bicycle, yes. So the bicycle, you're having issues getting a car. Psychologically, we would go to therapy and figure out why we're self-sabotaging. Maybe a memory of the bicycle comes up and we go, oh my God, that's the reason, right? And then we have the awareness. And then we're in the awareness trap of like, I have this limiting belief around money, and now I have to figure out how to work around it, right? Mm-hmm. But in my practice, I would say, I am my experience of every time I've gotten cars. I am my experience of cars. I am my experience of seeing other people attain cars. I am my experience of cars in movies and cars in books. Like I would just go around the word, the language, the car, and I'd clean anything that I can think of intuitively around that. Like I am my experience of, and then I would end my experience of whatever floated up into my awareness. Like, oh, I am my experience of that time my mom said I couldn't get a bike. That has wheels. Oh, I'll end my experience of anything with wheels that costs money, right? Mm-hmm. Like I just basically go and try to clean and end any experiences I can think of. And then at the very end, I'll say, and I end the creation experience of all of these things. Because before the bike happened, you were privy to conversations that were also in your memory that had nothing to do with the bike, right? So even though we think that's the thing that made this thing, it was just a piece. And so we want to we want to clear also and end the experience that led to that experience being a painful experience, right? Because you not getting a bike wouldn't have been a painful experience had you not already connected not getting something you wanted with a painful experience. And we don't have to know what that experience was. We just have to know that there's a line of creation. It's mostly attached to language. And if we're in meditation or a transcendental state where we're affecting our reality and we have conscious, affect on our reality, we just have to ask, like, I don't know what it was that caused me to feel this way, but I'm going to end that experience now. And then I'm going to breathe and feel into what the experience feels like and be curious about it.
And it's key. You can never end too much, because
you can never end too much.
So you just, anything that shows up in your energy, like I'll be thinking about the bike and that's like, oh, mom did this or dad did this. And all those energies are waiting to come up because you're now taking the cork off and just free flow it. It's like, oh, and my dad did this and my brother did this, or this shit will come up. Just keep ending it. I end this experience. I end this feeling. I end this. Yeah.
And actually jump around it. You can actually, once you get good at it, you can jump around it and not even have to go experience to experience. Like if it's all making you feel resentment, then you end your experience of resentment to date. And then you ask for any awareness around resentment that you need to know to come up in the next couple of days even, or whatever. And then you ask whatever energy is held in your body to be released that's connected to that block. And you can just go straight to it. And then you don't even have to go through the play-by-play emotional movie, right? Like, oh, here's the 8,000 times it happened. Oh, I'm seeing another one. I'm seeing another one.
A lot of times it's just like this energetic bubble of that. Yeah. And once the hole is in it, I just get in the emotion of it, and you just start letting the energy come out. And it's not even words anymore. It's a little bit of tears. It's a little bit of sadness. It's a little bit, and you just keep ending the experience, and you're just pushing on that bubble, because trauma is really just a bubble of trapped experience that you couldn't deal with in that moment. So you dumped it down into your system, where you're just encouraging it all to just come forth. You may want to feel like vomiting. You may want to feel this, but after a while, when it's not hypersensitized to the feeling, you just need to let the energy be experienced for 30 seconds sometimes is all you need to end that bubble.
Isn't it weird? We'll spend 30 years avoiding what would actually naturally take 30 seconds to go through us, feel, and express, right? Because either we closed off our own expression or we felt oppressed to not express it. And so there's this 30-second, somebody hits you on a playground, you could be like, ow, cry, and then go back to playing. That would be normal, right? That would be like not normal, but that would be an appropriate response if you're allowed to just free-formally express yourself. But somebody hits you on a playground, you can't cry because you've already been told that that's not a good thing, and you can't hit him back because that's not a good answer, right? So, you do that thing. And then if you don't end that experience, you just have this little open, curmudgeon-y
little kid.
Just hanging around for 30 years because you just never allowed that experience to end. That's how I see it. That experience never ended because you never had a closure to it. And we don't have to go back and have analytical closures to everything, but we do need an energetic closure. We do have to just say, I end this, because when we give our energy the directive, the energy will change, because we're just like, we create our energy. So we can do that. Like if everyone's like, you can manifest anything, then we can also put endings to anything we manifest, because we are the creator.
So it goes through a process. Basically, I've found you start off, yes, you have to analyze everything as it comes up. There's a reason, and then you got to break it all down, and it's all this mind shit, which is impossible. Then after a while, it becomes the emotion, like feeling that trauma going in. Okay, I'm hurting, and then being okay with crying or screaming into your pillow or whatever. And then it goes to a stage of it needs to be worth something, which is kind of the last stage where it's like, this has to have a reward at the end or whatever. And then the final one is just ending it. And there's no tied energy. know how this has to work out or how it fits into my story. It's just keep just like sweeping away into the dustbin that's gone away, not cleaning, like washing the wall and it's going to get dirty again, sweeping it all in and throw it in the violet flame of fire that's going to destroy it, and be clear. Because really, we're in a place that just constantly is poking us, trying to trigger all those things. So we really never have time to look inside ourselves and start to let that stuff bubble.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a difference there.
Go ahead.
Okay. So the way you described it, like the feeling, the repressedness, the awareness, the body release, those steps, that is actually what I was doing my whole life up until the energetic clear.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly 100% believe there is no levels. It is just, if you know that you can energetically clear these things, you go straight to the energy clear. Like maybe on an evolutionary scale, this is what we've done as humans. And
Mm-hmm.
now we have people that understand this, and we're starting to understand this. But I think that's what causes the unnecessary suffering. I think you do not have to analyze it. You do not have to have some sort of goal. There does not have to be a reason. There does not have to be a large energetic release. There doesn't even have to be any information. There's just you in the moment. How do you want to feel? What are you experiencing that is not that?
Mm-hmm.
And ending it. Right. And then letting all that other stuff catch up. Maybe the emotion bubbles up while you're on the bus 3 weeks later. Yep. Maybe you're just there and the emotion bubbles up from that. And you're like, oh, there's a trapped emotion releasing from my body. I don't need to know what it's from or anything. It just goes. Or you're in the shower a month later and you go, oh my God, my mother, she didn't let me have that bike. It's like the healing, the transition, however you want to call it, the transmutation, that happens on an energetic level, and we can put it first. And then we can allow the awareness to come later. We can allow the somatic releases to come later. But we can go straight to the energetic level, like the back door, and just save ourselves the...
Right. Okay. So let's paraphrase it this way. And this is the massive gift you're bringing into the world with Presence Manifest, right? The old spiritual way or even psychological way was to go through that progressive process. And here you're cleaning and clearing, and you're saying, fuck all that. All of that was the slow way. Right here and right now, wipe all that clean and all that suffering and all that struggle and all that bullshit and say, sit here, right here and right now. I'm ending everything. You can even just say that and just see what starts to show up in your system.
Right. And with curiosity. Curiosity is the key to this.
Exactly.
You basically end your energetic format, right? You end your energetic format, which in my interpretation sort of immediately up levels your operating system. And then you just walk out into the world and see what that did. And then you tweak as you go, right? You're like, okay, this is what I'm seeing after I did this. So let me change my energetic vibration in this other way and see how that works. Or, but I think the closer you get to just one single present being without a bunch of old yous hanging around in your energy field, the faster things go, the easier they go, the quicker they manifest the way that you want them to manifest versus these like weird, muddy, deformed manifestations that come when we're clouded and diluted and scripted. All that stuff just starts happening, and you don't even know the benefits of it until you walk through them, right? So yeah, it's really it kind of throws a lot in the face of the normal way, which is why I often get oh, whatever, that just works for you, but you're like it doesn't, right? Because
it works for me.
I
do it every day. Go ahead.
It doesn't just work for me. And here's the mind blown the other day. Maybe the reason it even works at all is because it works for me. And because I make it a possibility in reality, it's now a possibility for other people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like,
and it even goes out from there. Like,
right.
for example, so Joy looked me up. We hadn't talked for a fair time, and we were all on our own journeys. And she's like, "I'm seeing this thing in you, and are you even aware of it, or whatever?" And she mentioned it, and I went and cleared it, but there was still some stuff going on. So the other day, she said, "I'm going to add you to my energetic prayers," and I trust Joy, and she added it, and it's like last night, or not last night, the night before, I was just like, ugh, all this stuff showed up out of the blue, and I was like 4 hours cleaning it from 2 a.m. onwards, because she could see stuff in my shadow, and she could access, and that trust bypassed my beliefs about myself that blocked me from letting all of it go through. So this goes at levels, and it goes into the field for everyone. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's yeah, I'm just saying, I'm agreeing. I'm like, yeah, that happens. But and also, yeah, it surprises me. Like, I'm the cool thing about presence is that and I call it presence manifest, because it basically becomes a snowball. It's like you manifest presence, everything from that state of presence manifests. The new stuff gets more present because you keep adding more presence, so that manifests from presence, and it's like we just keep snowballing in a direction of more alignment and more ease and more flow. And when I say ease, I don't mean not challenging. I just mean ease in that those challenges are only meant to last as long as they're meant to last. Like, when you come up against something challenging, it's not supposed to take 3 years. Like, we're not here to have a
forever be stuck in
have Monday last for the next 5 years. Like, you had a bad Monday, it should be done on Monday, right? If some of those challenges are still, in your reality when it becomes what people call Tuesday, then that's the bits of it that you deal with in that moment. It's never this cumulative thing that we think we're dealing with. We're dealing with one moment at a time. And in one moment at a time, almost everything is manageable and learnable and can be joyful.
Oh, what was the thing you were saying the other day? Sometimes you're sitting and just having a conversation with a person about stuff, and then you're going through it, and you're getting to the end, and you're saying, well, I should really do a presence manifest thing with you, but he's already streaming tears down his face and other stuff, and it's like, oh, I guess we just did it, because her very presence and her calling into the space, just little things that show up intuitively for her, makes it a session. People may be getting emotion just by hearing this possibility. That's what Joy carries. She carries a vibration of this absolute presence of God, of herself, of her self-mastery. And when she sits with another person, she calls that in for the other person. And if they choose, they can be part of it. And that's where things will start to move. If they don't choose and they put a barrier up or whatever, it goes in as a seed, and eventually maybe something comes out. But it's never pressure or whatever. It's just this overwhelming love of their experience and letting them be or whatever. But here's a gift that could get you out of struggle, and that's the magic of the whole thing.
I don't like struggling.
Go ahead.
I don't like struggling.
I neither do I.
I don't like suffering. I think it affronted me when people would tell me that suffering was a choice, right? You go to the ashram, oh, leave attachment, suffering as a choice, and you're like, what the F? You don't have. But once you actually figure out that it is a choice on a very odd level, but it is a choice, then you're like, oh, that's what they're talking about. Like, that's what they're talking about. But being from New York, being neurodivergent, I think I created a system that works for me that I can share with other people, that are really just like cut to the chase, a little bit of hard love, and get it done. Like, I feel like it's just a very Italian New Yorker way of looking at things. And yes, those are labels, but this is where I grew up, and it's like, and I don't mind saying, like, I created a very Italian New Yorker way of like ending past experiential templates in your energy system, because I like efficiency, and whether I like it
Absolutely.
because I was born me or because I was born in New York, I don't care. I like efficiency. I'm
Hmm.
very utilitarian,
Hmm.
and I want to spend the most time of my day enjoying it.
Hmm. And
So
that's loving other people, is sometimes calling them directly and saying, holy fuck, what are you doing to yourself or whatever, but in a loving way so that they can finally see that thing in their shadow. And
right, and I didn't, and I'm not really sure like how that came across. Like I think I was just like, so I'm seeing this thing.
no, it was beautiful. You were gentle and loving, but it's like, fuck, really? Yeah, I did say that. And then it's like, but it was so buried underneath in my self-deprecation. I kept saying, what did I say? I was surrounded by demons and the suffering was what I came here to do and all this kind of stuff. And until she reflected it back, because that was the dark side, I was like, yeah, this is all I can expect right now and all this kind of stuff. And she's like, fuck all that kind of stuff. You deserve better. You got some clearing to do. And it's like, I didn't even see it. So thank God she had the courage to bring it up.
But that's
Thank
friendship,
you.
right? Because we're friends,
Exactly.
so yeah, and
But
thankfully,
the world needs way more of that. Like I will say right here and right now, call people out on their shit, but in the most loving way you can. Don't say, fuck you, asshole, you're an idiot or whatever. No, say, geez, you keep being really angry and I'm not angry. What's going on? Or you're saying these things about yourself. Do you realize you're saying them? And people sometimes they'll scream at you or whatever because they didn't like having a mirror show what was going on. Or they might say, oh, fuck, I'll call you back. Right? Because we sometimes need that 2x4 in the side of the head, and that's the most love that you can give a person, is sometimes to call out the depth of what's happening.
I'm so glad it was so received. And
It was beautifully received. But that's the people I want to surround myself with, is people that say, you're being an idiot. What's going on? And an idiot's a bad word or whatever, but sometimes you need that like hammer to say, geez, somebody's calling me an idiot. And then you go into the trigger, but then that's something that also needs to be ended and cleared, right? And you're just like,
but and I would add to that too is like two things. A, it is it is I call people on things that I know I've done myself, right? So
mhm,
it's stuff that I've done, it's stuff that I know that I actually have been able to, you know, transmute or transcend, right? So
mhm,
I'm not gonna point something out to anyone that I actually I'm like, I'm not gonna just go around judging people, right? It's not judgment. It's like, oh, he's doing that thing. I can maybe offer this thing. And then, and then I let it go. That's a moment.
mhm,
But beyond that, when I do my energy clears, the beautiful thing is anything I'm assisting someone else to energetically transmute,
mhm,
I also add to my own personal clearings that day.
mhm,
Whether I think I need them or not, whether I have an awareness that I need them or not, I also realize that a lot of it showing up and the
mhm,
people that are showing up in front of me are
mhm,
also,
mhm,
God or the divine talking to me. So if I'm not feeling particularly angry, but someone else is trying to transmute some anger, I will work with them on that anger, and I will also add those same prayers, those same clearings to my own.
mhm,
And 9 out of 10 times, there's things I didn't see, and I'm
mhm.
very grateful. I'm like, oh,
Layers. Yep.
oh, I'm so glad this person called me to go over resentment today because
Yep.
I didn't realize I was resenting this thing, and so like I was able to get that out of my system as well. So I
Mhm,
always do for myself what I'm doing for other people, and I try my darndest to not offer to anyone else something that I haven't first
mhm,
trial and errored in my
mhm,
own reality to
mhm,
just to be a good that good, but to be a kind like human,
mhm.
I guess.
And we're all a part of each other. If you describe past lives and God, and we're all part of Source, really, whatever we're supporting someone in, we're doing in ourself as our part of our collective. And I sure like the simplicity of the process. I was taught this process called zero pointing, which had this huge mantra you'd have to do on every word of the description, and you had to go in and back, and it was like for like a minute on each word, and you'd have to write them all down. This is just like, I'm going to use the paintbrush and I'm going to go and wash everything down, and it's going to dissolve off the page, which is the way it should be. Because if it's tedious, we as humans get distracted or we forget or whatever, where this is just like, I'm the will of God. I no longer feel this serves me, and you're just ending it. Poof. How much simpler could it get?
Yeah, and ingratitude. And I think that's why I came back to the O-P-O-N-O.
Ho'oponopono.
L-M-N-O-P-O.
Yeah.
I swear it's like that's the word that I get tripped up on, because I know I'm going to put an extra O or an extra N.
Just call it pono pono. Easy, simple. The rest is kind of, yeah,
okay,
pono pono. P-O-P.
Anyway, I'm sure that translates into presence manifest if the conjuring of it can be applied differently. So if it's I'm sorry, then you're basically ending any experiences with that data or that person that you maybe unintentionally, caused harm.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's next? I'm sorry.
I love you.
I love you. Well, love is just presence. So I love you.
Be aware you're not saying this to the person, you're saying it to your inner child.
Yeah. Well, he was saying it to Files, you were saying.
Well, he did it to the part of him that was that person. So you're saying it for yourself. So it's like, I'm sorry, and giving yourself forgiveness. I'm sorry. I love you, even though this happened. I forgive you. Thank you. You're giving it to that inner child. The whole Ho'oponopono is this unihipili, which is the inner child. And there's this whole story about how he's covered with muck and dirt, and you take a cloth and you wash away his eyes and his face and bring the smile out. That's what we're doing is we have a hook or a remnant of all this shit that we're trying to forgive, and it's loading us down like we're mucked over and we can't shine anymore because we were a part of it, or we experienced it, or we saw it, and we're not forgiving ourselves. We think we should all be innocent and playful, and then we lose all that. So Ho'oponopono, I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you, is basically going into that child, but it's also going out to all the hooks and anger from other people and resentments. Just like you're saying, all those things are tied to an event, and if you end it, all those energies clear.
Right. So you could, see, I don't know why I haven't. I'm just I don't know why. It's like the strangest thing, but that you could say that. Mm-hmm. You can actually say that to if you conjure the experiential energy templates as I see them, as an open experience, you could then Ho'opono. Ho'opono? You can Ho'opono those experiences, right? Because that's essentially giving that experience a conscious ending in love, with releasing any attachments to it. And the only thing that's missing is the curiosity. So it would just need like one more line, and it would be
perfect.
A very usable presence manifest clearing mantra, because you would just add at the end of that, and I'm curious like who you are now, because you're actually even saying that to your inner child. I'm curious what we are today, like how we express today, who we are today. Where's the possibility? So it's,
or would you say, I open you to unlimited possibility?
Yeah, so it's like, I love you. Because you're also taking ownership in that, right? So you're being the creator. So I love you. I'm sorry. Forgive me. You're honoring the fact that there's a relationship between you and that concept or that experience or that person or whatever. And then what's the third one? I don't know why.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Gratitude. Then you have the gratitude. And then at the end, you would just add, I invite you.
That feels good.
Right? I invite you. So I love you. I forgive you. I'm sorry. I thank you, and I invite you
Mm-hmm.
in all possibility,
Beautiful.
right? Or in all aligned possibility. That would be in all aligned possibility. So if you add that to the end of that phrase and you
Mm-hmm.
applied it to anything of these either past experiences or people in your life or items that you're not sure if you want to get rid of, if you apply that plus I invite the like all benevolent possibility at the end of that, that would be a presence manifest practice.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
There's very few practices that invite unlimited possibility is where we're from and we've been taken from and we just need to get back to. And that's what you're saying.
Yeah, there's 3 things in transformation that I feel like have to be are cornerstones for something to truly transform, to truly have a different energetic signature or be
Transmute.
different. And that's
Transmute feels better
gratitude.
than
Yeah,
go ahead.
transmute. So it's gratitude,
Mm-hmm.
being done, consciously ending, having gratitude, and inviting the ultimate mystery, inviting the divine mystery into it. Those 3 things create a state of presence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay.
Look, I
So
learned something.
what's that?
I'm always excited when I learn something.
Beautiful. So let's close because we're coming up or past the hour here. Let's close on your definition of presence.
My definition of presence is I'm in alignment with my highest self and the divine with the least amount of habitual tendency
Mm-hmm.
and the most amount of benevolent possibility.
Beautiful. I'd call that playfulness, but yep.
So
Beautiful.
that's the space I want to live my life from. And
And we all should want to, right?
I wish everyone can. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So this is the gift that joy brings. And you do work with people on this kind of stuff. Can you explain how we can find you and all that kind of stuff?
Yes. You can find me. I have a website. It's pretty simple. presencemanifest.com. That is where you can schedule a consultation and we can figure out which way I work with you the best. I have coaching sessions, I have philosophy classes, and I have a 7-day flow session that I just love. That's my favorite one. Just because we get to go deep in it. But presencemanifest.com, there's a button for consultation, and there's also a little space where you can send a question through email. Mm-hmm. And so that's a good place to start. And then we'll talk and see where we go.
Well, and I'd recommend you, if you're on Facebook, look up Joy by her name on Facebook. She's got lots of beautiful shares about her own personal life, and she does this beautiful conscious rapping and songs and stuff like that. It's real. It's beautiful.
So, yeah. Thank you so much.
Go take a look at those. So just be aware that this is a gift. Oh, maybe explain your Metatron experience really quick, just so that people can tie that if they're into angels and stuff.
Yeah. So my mirror is sideways. So the little bump on the back of my head, I keep going to the other side because I'm in reverse. It's driving me. Sorry, it's driving me a little crazy.
And you got NLP behind you. Put your head to the side. It tells people to breathe.
That was my vision board for the last 3 months.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, what were we saying? Metatron. Oh, yep. So yeah, that's a funny story. So Presence Manifest actually, as a concept, as a philosophy, is only about 3 years old. Preceding Presence Manifest was energetic experiential template clearing, right? But between the two, my friend sent me a Metatron meditation on my phone, and I fell asleep to it playing on the TV, and I slept through hours, and YouTube just played Metatron meditation after Metatron meditation, and I didn't know who Metatron was. And this was right at the turning point between EET theory turning into Presence Manifest. And then when I woke up, I looked at the TV, and every time I saw the word Metatron, I just laughed hysterical. Like I had this like really giddy, like almost like childlike, like I was like, Metatron. And I had no idea why, but I knew it had something to do with all these meditations that I had slept through. And then years later, fast forward just a couple of weeks ago, I'm having a conversation with someone and I said, I think I want to go out to the desert and I don't know, build a Metatron cube or something for people to come sleep in. And they said, why'd you say that? And I said, I don't know. It's just the first thing that came to my head. And then I looked up Metatron cube, and then I looked up Metatron, and he's the angel of presence.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still going through rabbit holes of how all of this is connected, but it was a really funny story. And now I'm kind of slightly obsessed with Metatron cubes. Cool. I keep seeing them everywhere.
I'm gonna just so people know, the Metatron cube is the heart of our Merkaba. So if you see that kind of 5-pointed star in 3 dimensions or whatever, the center cube is Metatron's cube, correct?
Yeah, and when I go, well, it's actually a Merkaba within a cube, within the flower of life. It's
oh wow,
it's kind of everything in this one thing. And when I looked it up, and this is not stuff I know. So whoever's watching this, I have no idea what I'm talking about except for 15 Google references. But it was interesting because it was the top of the Kabbalah tree of life. It was connected to Christ consciousness. It was connected to Metatron himself, which is considered the present, the angel of presence. It was very interesting to me, and I'm still following where it goes. But yeah, that was last week. I was just I was talking to him and I was like, and Metatron's everywhere. So cool. everything in my life right now comes back to presence, even if I don't know it at first.
Well, and that's what people need to be aware of, is to become self-masterful or to ascend or to fully awaken or whatever. You got to find presence. You got to find that rock place inside of you that's unswayed by any past experience, any person's opinion, anything. And then you're safe anywhere, right? You can travel, you can lose your home, you can lose your car, and it's just, I'll find a way.
And you can get a mansion or a jet and still be safe from the trappings that would normally trap you.
Yeah.
Cool. You can do anything.
You can do anything. Cool. Well, to keep things in line, I think we'll leave it at that. Is there any last comments you want to make?
No, I'm good.
Beautiful. Well, I am blessed to have shared this beautiful time with Joy, and her smile and eyes and excitement about all this kind of stuff. And I hope everybody gets the gift of what this is, and maybe spend some time with Joy. We've talked for a long time. I knew her back in her EET times, and when she was going through some of her turmoil, and it was just this divine blessing, and just following her life and seeing a smile emerge, because you just beam now. So
I know beautiful. I can't even, I try sometimes. I'm like, no sense. Why stop? Right.
The world needs more.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And any questions, put them in the notes in the live, and we'll get it posted on your timeline or whatever as well. And thank you all for listening. We love you all. And if any of this resonated, start exploring, because it'll change your life. So thank you, Joy.
I keep going the wrong way.
It's all good.
You have to hit end.
Exactly. Well, I'll let you go have some lunch, and we will talk more soon.
Yes.
Thank you. See you all, everybody. I'm just going to end.